Hi, welcome to the Rittners Floral School in Boston, Mass. I'm Dr. Steve Rittner, and it's a pleasure to welcome you into one of our classrooms today. We got a neat little demonstration for you, and I think you're going to really enjoy it. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be doing a design using what we call grouping technique. Grouping technique is when we've got a container where there are multiple containers, two or more, that are attached to each other. As you can see in this example, we have a few glass containers, and they're all actually part of one big container into which we've put some flowers to come up with a grouping. Well, what we're going to do is we're not going to play with the glass one, we're going to play with this one. This happens to have 3 plastic containers in it. They're in a little tray, and we're going to come up with something that we call a summer hedge or hedgerow design. And I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. We're going to use a variety of things, and that's one of the neat things about this particular style. You can play with all kinds of things. This happens to be leucadendron. It is a very, very neat material. It is in the protea family, and it's really tough stuff. It can really hold up very, very well, and it gives an almost outworldly effect. And so we're going to start off with our leucadendron, and we're going to be playing with three sections of this container all at once. And I think you're going to really find this kind of interesting. We're going to mix it with a number of different things. Just because we have leucadendron doesn't mean that we have to stay with all kinds of tropicals or weird things. We can, for example, play with our carnation. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. We're going to take a few of our carnations and work them into this container. The interesting thing is that a lot of people look at a carnation and feel that it's every day, and it is, because it comes in a huge range of colors and it gives very, very good value. But you can mix your carnation in with all kinds of other things to come up with very, very cool effects, and that's exactly what we're doing here. We're taking our carnation and we're mixing it in with our leucadendron, and because this is a summer hedge or hedgerow, we're going to play with a little bit of our sunflower. Our sunflower is so pretty. It's bright, it's cheerful, it's one of my favorite flowers. One reason I like the sunflower is because it definitely is an optimistic kind of flower, and it is so, so pretty. And we have some very, very cute zinnias that are coming in at the present time, so we thought it might be kind of fun to play with some zinnia. And so I am going to take a zinnia and place it in here, and that gives a kind of an interesting effect. And we're also going to play with something else that I think you're going to find kind of interesting. We're going to be playing not only with our sunflower that is wide open and kind of cool, but also once in a while you get sunflowers that they start to go by the wayside, the petals start going, but don't throw them away, because you can take some of the petals off and then use the center part to come up with all kinds of really, really cool effects. And so what we're going to do is take our little sunflower that has had the petals removed, and we're going to work that into our design to give a kind of an interesting effect to it. And then how about some of this? This is a fantail willow. This is interesting stuff, and it's kind of fun and funky to use, because if you think about it, our leucadendron, our carnations, our sunflowers, all of these things tend to be fairly what I would call rigid in terms of shape. But the fantail willow is a little bit more curvy, and that gives kind of a nice contrast to our design. So we're coming up with some very, very cool things here, just gradually working our way down. Let's do the second section of this, because again, this is really, it gives a very, very neat effect. And we can take some of the same things that we've used in the first, or we can mix them and come up with other ideas as well. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of our sunflower and work sunflower in here, and then we can never go wrong. We can never go wrong with our rose, the Rolls Royce of flowers, the national flower, the flower that he definitely has to come home with on Valentine's Day. We're going to work that in, and to again make this a little bit more dense, because a hedge generally tends to be rather thick. We don't have a lot of space in between as we would in parallel structure. I'm going to put another leucadendron right behind there. And let's see, what else can we work into this? Well, let's see, we have more of our fantail willow that I can take and work another little piece in. I'm going to work this in right here. You really can have fun with this, because you can take all kinds of stuff that you can buy from your local flower shop, and you can get these little mixture bundles and then work them into these things and come up with some really cool effects. Now here is a little bit of hypericum berry. Hypericum has become very, very popular, and the use of berries in our design certainly has become a popular kind of thing, so we'll work that one in. And then I'm going to take another segment of sunflower, which I have plucked some of the petals off, and I'm going to work that into the center here. And that gives a very interesting effect. You can notice I'm just working from left to right. We can work from left to right. We can work from right to left on these things. Any configuration works pretty well on it. I'm going to work in my third section here. And again, I'm going to take my rose. I'm going to take another rose and work it in here, coming up a little bit higher, so that we have a rose that is coming up fairly high in our design. And I'm going to mix in again a little bit more of my leucadendron, just gradually coming in. Notice the hedge is gradually getting a little bit thicker as we go along. Let's take another zinnia. The zinnia looks pretty darn cool, so I'm going to work another zinnia in. I want to get the head of the flower right here, and I'm going to just work it so that the head goes where I want it to go, right in there, but the stem's going a little bit further back. And then, of course, let's take another one of our little pieces of sunflower, to which again I did some little bit of plucking before this demonstration and work that in. So we have a little sunflower worked in here. And then we can take another little bit of hypericum berry. So notice I'm mixing stuff all over the place, and it's giving us a really, really cool effect. How about another carnation? We started with carnations on the left. We can get another one over onto the right, and then another little bit of our sunflower, and we'll place that right over here. And we've got a very, very interesting configuration. Now obviously we always cover our mechanics. In other words, unless we're using decorative foam that comes in different colors that's intended to be exposed and shown, we generally do like to cover our mechanics. And to do that, I'm taking a little bit of my sheet moss, and I'm putting it in here, and I'm using small pieces of wire. See if you can see that little piece of wire. And I'm using that to hold it in place. We call these hairpins. And so I'm taking that and gradually working that in. And I'm going to work all the way across, taking my sheet moss and placing it in here and holding it in place with my little bit of wire, because it's always important. Professional floral designers always cover their mechanics and make sure that it's nice and neat and clean. It's a matter of personal and professional pride. Now obviously I should also do the same thing on the sides and the back, but I think you guys can get the idea. So what do you think? Funky, isn't it? It's a really, really cool design. It's quick, easy, and fun. And what we've done is what we call a hedge or hedgerow design for summer, using a wide variety of different things. So consider, if you will, play with grouping containers, play with hedgerow technique. At Rittners Floral School, we believe that floral designing should be quick, easy, and fun. And I hope you got a sense of that from this brief demonstration. On behalf of all of us here at Rittners Floral School, I'm Dr. Steve Rittner. We thank you for coming in and visiting our school today, and we hope that you enjoy playing with some of these amazing materials to come up with your own hedgerows or hedge designs for your own fun in your family. Thank you for coming in and visiting with us today.